Hello, how are you all doing? So, welcome to Unleash Your Niche Live, the last ever one of this decade. So, not only is it the end of the year, the end of the decade. So, I'm making that sound very, very dramatic. If you're here watching live right now, do say hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know if you can hear me as well, because last week had a little bit of a mishap with no sound. So if you are watching it right now, I do hope you can hear me. So do let me know before I get started. So today we are going to be talking about if you're new to business or you haven't been running for that long, you have been going for a little bit, but not too long. But you're starting to worry about whether you should have a niche or not. So today we're going to talk about that in a bit more detail about actually what should you be thinking about, and what are the best things to be thinking about if a niche maybe isn't quite right for you at the moment. So as I said, do say hello if you're here watching live. Do say hello if you're watching on the replay as well. It'd be lovely to hear from you. If you've got any questions, do ask them as I go along and I will answer them all at the end. Okay, so let's get started. So you're new to business or you haven't been in business that long. Should you niche? There's about a million things you are thinking about when you start a brand new business. There is just so much, obviously, that you've got to get sorted, that you've got to get clear, that you've got to work on, things that you weren't even thinking about when you had a really great idea that you would go into business for yourself. So should a niche be part of those things that you should be thinking about? Now, if you've seen my videos before or have spoken to me before, I'm very much a firm believer that a niche should be organic. So it should come out of things that you've done in the past rather than just kind of thinking, like picking it out of thin air. So it should be something that you're kind of looking back, looking at past clients, looking at ways you've worked, and then using that to go, okay, where can I focus? What direction should I go in? Is there any way that I can be more focused in my business, or to and a direction that actually is better suited to what you've been doing before? But what if you haven't had any or many clients yet, and you're not really too sure, and actually I don't know if there is a direction? So this is what I'm going to talk about today, because it's not all kind of bad news is probably a little bit too extreme, but it's not that it's something you shouldn't be thinking of. It's just thinking about it in a little bit of a different way, because there are other things you should be thinking about first, rather than on day one thinking, okay, how can I be as niche as possible? Because it's probably not the right time to think about that, because of those things that I was saying. It wouldn't be an organic process. It'd be you making something up that might not actually be the right direction for your business. So what should you think about first then, if you're not too sure whether a niche is right for you at this moment, especially if you, as I say, are fairly new in your business? So I'm going to go through three things that you should be focusing on first, and what they will do is they'll help you get clearer, but also they'll set you up in a really, really good place, that when niching is the right time for you in your business, you will have everything in place, so it will be much more of an easy process and much more organic for you. So the first thing to think about is take on as many different types of clients as you possibly can. So a lot of people, when they're brand new in business, they get really, really kind of het up and confused about who their ideal client is. They're thinking, oh, should it be this person? Should it be that person? But the truth is, if you haven't worked with many people yet, or any people, it is a little bit of guesswork. Obviously, you can have your idea of actually, what problem that you're solving, But at the same time, sometimes you don't know totally who that person might be. So rather than trying to, just cut people out because you're not quite sure if they're right, just work with all sorts of different people. Because if you're not, just testing the water, because if you're not too sure on who might be the perfect person to work with you, so how would you be able to really understand who your A-list client is? But also you wouldn't be able to know who those kind of pesky Z-list clients are either, the ones that aren't right for working with you. So this is something that is really important. As I say, people in their business kind of get really worried about, is this the right person? And actually it's stopping them from just getting out there, getting on with it, getting clients, which is, at the end of the day, the most important thing to be thinking about when you are new to your business. So that's number one. So the second one is ask the audience. Do as much research as possible as you possibly can on getting clear on what the pain point is. As I said, you should have some idea in terms of the problem that you're solving, which is why you went into business in the first place. But sometimes it's little nuances with language or actually how someone describes it. It's thinking about what actually is the problem that someone thinks about when they wake up in the morning. Is what you are helping with, is that the way that they would describe it? Or actually, is it something else? Because I know it's very easy for when you, from kind of your side of your business, how you help. Sometimes it's not actually the reason that your client thinks why they need help. So sometimes it's just tweaking it ever so slightly in something that the way they think about it, so that they will resonate and be like, yes, okay, this is the right business for me. This is my problem, and this person is clearly solving that problem. So just do as much research as you possibly can to get to understand this. And there's nothing wrong with continuing to ask people to get clearer. It's not a weakness. It's not something that, once you've done research once at the beginning, you shouldn't be doing it throughout your business journey. This is something you should be doing all the time. And this is something that when you do decide to niche, and start thinking about, actually, maybe I could, focus a little bit more in this direction, rather than doing kind of a bit of everything. For example, this is what you would be doing. You would test the waters first. You would kind of start asking people. You would start to do a bit of research before you potentially went right ahead and kind of did all the change anyway. So this is just really, really good practice in your business. It's just to be continually kind of getting feedback from people, whether that's people who you think might be a good client, people who you have worked with, people that have worked with someone similar to you, because that's always good to ask them their thoughts and feelings of when they work with someone. It's just continually getting as much research to be as knowledgeable as you possibly can on why someone needs your help. So then the third thing, and this is this is very important. This is something you should be thinking about at all stages of business, is think about what makes you different. Because at the end of the day, that is ultimately what a niche is. But it's something you should be thinking about the very beginning of your business. Just because if you're day one of your business, it doesn't mean that you should be beige or vanilla-y or, camouflaging yourself in the wallpaper. You still want to stand out, and you still want people to notice you and to think, yes, this is the person I want to work with. So this is something you should be thinking about, as I say, from the very, very beginning anyway, of what makes you different. Why would someone choose you over someone else? And if you don't know your exact client, or maybe you work in a lot of different, you do a lot of different jobs for people because you're still testing them out and you're still working out what that special thing might be that you decide to focus on, that's okay, because there's other ways that you can think about how you stand out that doesn't have to be about your client or about offering a real super focused niche service. You can still offer a range of services. You can still work with a range of people. So these things are thinking about It could be your personality. So this is an area that you could stand out over someone else at the very beginning, because, I mean, throughout really, but particularly at the beginning where you're not so focused on those other aspects of your business. Think about what aspects of your personality you can really amplify and make more of, that will make people warm to you, make people like you, make them trust you, and then they'll want to work with you. So it could be that you are a really bubbly, fun person, so you make more of that in your content. It could be that you're really funny, so actually you try and make some funny videos and some funny content that will really attract people to you. Or it could actually be, it doesn't have to be kind of a big crazy kind of out there personality trait. It could be that actually you're introverted, and actually that's what make people warm to you. I know some great businesses who are really playing on the fact that they are introverted, and they find things like doing videos and reaching out to people and talking to people really difficult, and actually that's made them really strong and really stand out because they're talking about it. So that's a really, really good thing to think about. What parts of your personality do you think will make you stand out from other people who are doing something similar to you? And sometimes it's just showing up. Be surprised about how many businesses actually hide behind, especially when they're new, they kind of hide behind logos and kind of stock photos, and actually they're not getting out there. So it might just be as simple as just showing up, just showing your face, you know, whether that be photographs or videos. It might just be doing those things. So so that is just an area that can make you stand out. The second one is your values. So it's, the values are, a good way to think about it is, what would you like someone to talk, how would they, I'll restart that. How would you want someone to describe your business when you're not there? So how would you want someone to describe your business to somebody else if they were talking about you? So it's thinking about what words are important to you, what words you want to convey your business. And it's really good to have some values of your business, because chances are people will also resonate with those values. There'll be values that they hold themselves, or that they do feel are important, and they will be what connects them to you, and they will start to build a relationship with you because they hold similar values. It could also be that your service or product offering is a little bit different to anyone else out there. So this doesn't have to necessarily be that you are niche down in, rather than being, for example, you work in marketing. So you could do all sorts of things in marketing, because there's obviously lots of things you could do, and actually you specialize. You don't know where you want to specialize in yet, so you don't have to kind of think, oh God, okay, I better specialize in SEO because I think that will be what I want to specialize in. You can still be quite general, but actually it's how you do things. So it might be that the way you work is a little bit different. You might not do the normal way of having sessions that other people do, or it might actually be that you have a different way of onboarding people, or it might be that you have a different just way of how you work with people that makes you stand out. It might be just as simple as, if you're in an industry that is normally quite closed when it comes to pricing, and you always have to ask for quotes, that you actually are quite transparent with your prices. So actually you're standing out because people know exactly how much you charge, and actually you have more of a complete package rather than everything just being bespoke and actually quite confusing. So you could stand out in your industry by doing something as simple as that. And then the fourth thing is how you can stand out is visual brand. So it could be that actually, yes, you stand out because you have bright colors, or you have a really consistent visual brand that someone, wherever they come across you, be it on social media, on your website, on anything that you do, they automatically realize it's you. So, and this is something that's, I mean, all these things are so, important, are so important, but it's really, really good to have that visual identity that people can immediately realize that it's you, because it's such a shortcut. that, say, if you're trying to stand out and everyone is really samey and everyone looks quite the same in their colors and their fonts and things like that, you could flip it and just be totally the opposite, or just do something that just totally stands out from other people that are doing the same thing as you, and it will make such a difference to your business. So they're the three main things. A little bit of a bonus for you as well is, with all these things, and it, rather than necessarily thinking about a niche, it's to think about, actually, you do still need to have a focus in your business, even though saying that actually you don't necessarily have to have that really prescribed ideal client, A-lister client straight away, or actually you could offer a range of services rather than focusing on one, but you still need to have a focus, and it still needs to be clear so that someone knows what you do, how you help, and actually how they can work with you. Because it's not being wishy-washy, it's not being confusing, it's still being really precise, that someone knows, actually, this is the person to help me. So whatever you do, whether it is you work with all sorts of different people and you do all sorts of different things, there's still think about that umbrella term to encompass everything, that people understand exactly what you do. So it's going back to that pain point idea of knowing how you help, so that someone knows they're in the right place, and know that you are the person for them. So they're the things that you should be thinking about if a niche is not quite right for your business. So, and what I mean by that is that I mean focusing and pinpointing even further on something in your business. You can be quite broad at the beginning, and that's okay. But as long as you're standing out and that you still have a focus. So that's the main thing I want. If you're going to take one thing away from today, it will be that still think about how you stand out, how you're different, and be focused in what you're doing. So don't get all worried about how niche you should be, and actually you should be really precise. Don't worry about that. That will come, and that will organically happen the more clients you have and the more research you do as well, which were my first 2 points. So they're really important in the kind of setup, but in terms of how you communicate your business from day one, think about how you stand out, but also internally make sure you have the focus and that you're still being clear in what you do. Cool. So that's everything. So do let me know if you have any questions and if you've been watching. I haven't seen any comments, so I hope that doesn't mean that they have been coming and actually I haven't been able to see them. But yeah, do let me know if you have any questions. Also, if you think this is relevant to anyone you know, do share this video, do tag a friend so that they can see it as well, if you think that would be helpful for them. So I will just see if there has been any questions. I will just check in my Facebook group. So hopefully you have had sound. So bear with me while I just have a little check on here. Cool. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, do let me know if you have any questions. And if you're watching it on the replay, do ask me your questions as well, and I will answer them for you. So hopefully that has been helpful for you. And so do ask me any questions. I will also be turning this into a blog, so I will have that on my website that you'll be able to have a look at, which will summarize everything that I've spoken about today. So yeah, so there we go. So hopefully that's helpful. I won't be doing a live next week as it's Christmas week. So I hope you'll all be relaxing and doing some fun things. But I will be back the following week, which I think is the 3rd of January, whatever that Friday is. So I'll be back then, starting the year off with a bang, with carrying on with doing these lives. So I think that's it from me. So have an absolutely wonderful Christmas and New Year. And I will see you then. Okay, see you later. Bye.